Into an early cosmos we go to understand where we all then came from. Where indescribable heat and pressure form particles we have become. Crumbs become of great weight, dependent on a level of multiplication. Some things aren't worth putting up a fight, depending on desperation. Certain excitement in understanding when all the pieces make a whole. To the letter, so nothing is absent. A penny missing, that someone stole. One part missing will not tip the balance. Plus and minus must equal. This is why we fight over nearly nothing when something is illegal. Darned to say we made it that way. Listen to Moses. Put down the stone. We all become a victim of varied habits. Good and bad, then left alone. Winning proves you're fast. The term survival may make the grade. If it worked before, it should again. No proof but track record it made. Leave out extra baggage if not necessary. Nature tends to be thrifty. A resultant transcription of biologically stored inclusions in history. Put to circumstances where required. Depend on new conditions. Hindsight dictates what was needed. Says not what experience aforementions. Centered on crowd or background helps to blend into a total scene. Records are not to be forgotten. That others understand what you mean. Predators pick deficiencies, making them prey. Plan not to be in their way. Victimized from each angle. Try to smooth some jagged corners away.
Do not go on a prowl unless so empowered. Bring light word to the wise. To some hindrance, to others the advantage. Dark night our stronghold. Mesmerized by the angle of those eyes. Equipped for night's disguise. Nocturnal augmentation caused daytime animal types being less bold. Molecular combinations of which were composed mostly these elements. Oxygen, hydrogen, nitrogen, carbon, calcium, and phosphorus remnants. Often it is forgotten why we went there. Ultimately where we originated. Solar systems that finally formed from nebulas were long awaited. Crawling across heaven-bending space around in a relativistic ring. Results that can't be seen except as a gravitationally influenced thing. Looking at such phenomenon as these, we gain our own perspectives. Incredibly, we're merely handfuls of dust and lots of water next to these. No truth wins, always survives. Until none are left to show it respect. By another label. Religious business, a hand that rocks the cradle. Spiritualistic survival of the fittest in those who are morally correct. Justifiable vengeance or swift justice. Slow mercy is less fatal. Turning the planet and its orbital. This caused by some divine mysticism. As we revolve about the sun. With our moon pulling the tides in rhythm. So the power of heaven pulls and pushes us. The force of our maker. A hand of which we speak. That calming contentment imparted her.
Particles attract each other as a square of distance between each face. The mystique is gravity. Invisible forces holding objects to each other. Keeps you on the ground and makes things fall. As curves in space. Wrapping itself around objects, like a star or a planet we discover. Differing completely, solid objects and massless energy that any cared. One times another, divided by distances between the centers squared. Force of attraction is a gravitational constant working onto objects. Same acceleration as bodies in free fall, electromagnetism rejects. More constants understand. Light, length or time regard to electricity admit. Measuring a rest mass of electrons and photons suggests one has it. An electron can be slow to study. But photons simply cease to be. Nuclear strong and weak exhibit this. Light too, bent by gravity. Particles traveling freely in empty space. As a wave behaves like this. Total energy of parts, both potential and kinetic, vibrations may miss. Where with gravity a massive object determined by its weight is that. Mass energy wave behaves as the particles' quantum parts thereat. From the pools where they originated. Flowing on into another stream. Don't get it wrong. Reality is only illusion. And it's most likely a dream. Conceived and created but not meant to be understood by creations. They are that. The dreamer is the maker of its unending vibrations.
Inference based on observation is what our understanding relates to us. Onward each step at a time. That trailing mark into the distance cuts. Pile of experiences sewn into solid conviction, propelling judgment. One foot leads another, knowing it landed by where the other went. Bonding electrons atoms at a time. Attraction single pieces each starts. Simple growing to more complex through random assimilation of parts. Birth to death another experiment by long chain of complex formulas. All structured nuclearly. By appeal of the nucleus in those purposes. Transmitting strong interactions that bind nucleons together in the nuclei. One of each, bound together by the strong force's action. This is why mesons are composed of an equal number of quarks and antiquarks. Intermediate impasse between the proton and electron that it marks, resulting identical answers. There must be correlations in the results. It isn't fiction. Existence of atomic nuclei there in science consults. Reproduced experimentally by different groups under varied conditions. Not hypothesized and established to exist as proof that mentions. Proof provided a field exists that gives mass to elements by their bosons. Breaking strung nuclear down to parts. Quarks, antiquarks, and gluons. Destruction derby of physics. Smashing nucleons to pick out pieces. Significant as the nucleus. Understanding fundamentally increases.
You'd have no power over me were not it given from above. The one who handed me over to you is guilty of a greater sin, said to be directly descended from our Maker. So is everyone we know of. We fight over hierarchy, where all are equal. Making or taking life. It is mortal then. Manner of fulfillment describing Redeemer of mankind's execution as sin. Ultimate injustice, where two wrongs ended in making one right. Perfect example it might become said. It was that. Believe in justice then. Recognized as fate. That became the two nations' great oversight. Roman dictatorship and Jewish clergy rulers felt equal intimidation. The one most versed in prophecy and scripture was the accused, followed in history by armies of martyrs and abundances of inhumanity used. Death is inevitable. Life only a postponement of it, the dissemination. Eternal immortal soul another belief. What's not detectable may not be. Without end we guess at that having no consequence ineffectively. Definition of inalterability see free will and determinism quiet reverse. What is not, very well is. The creator of time and our own universe. Quarks and gluons, things that matter. One might have some worth. Too heavy for many dudes and girls need to be brought down to earth. The trinity in each proton and neutron abounds in their two constituents. Hadrons carry charge. Proton positive, electrons negative recipient.
Neutrons are charged by 3 quarks. Charge is minus n plus 2/3, totaling a sum of 0. Protons, 2 up quarks and 1 down, inwards, carrying a positive or plus 1 result. Gluons bind the quarks in 3, forming all nucleons and nuclei, as in the heart of atoms G. It's an elementary lepton, said not to have a detectable substructure. Electrons, not interacting directly with the strong nuclear force share. Charge the same, 1, but opposite the proton, with tiny mass. Mesons, quark and antiquark, bind nucleons. Strong nuclear force at last. Hadrons aren't thought to be primal. Their basic units are quarks. Electrons formed in an early universe beginning to cool for starts. First atoms. Hydrogen, 1 proton and electron. Deuterium, 1 proton, neutron and electron. Tritium, 2 neutrons, 1 proton and electron, so on. The first stars forged heavier nuclei through the process of hot fusion. Cast them in space, creating nebulas. Solar systems formed in conclusion. Galaxies started in collapses of enormous gas clouds or in accretion. Groups of stars came together early in the universe's creation. Not understood are abundances of matter and energy indetectable to us. That which is comprises merely 4% of the cosmos we adjust. The expanding space-time continuum seems to contain mostly dark energy. Then dark matter. Less than a 20th stuff made of atoms we see.
Differentiating forces they act under. Beyond minds like mine to critique. Used only to confuse. Colors the strong nuclear force. Electric is weak. Color charge quarks unrelated to meaning of color or charge no less. Chromodynamics is kind of like electrodynamics, we gotta guess. A fundamental interaction confines quarks in hadrons, proton and neutron. Seeing hot, smooth consistency in initial conditions the universe fell on. It's least understood, the strong nuclear force binding nuclei. Decay instances processes in stable nuclei lose radiation energy by myself anyway. Here only for a short time, so not very long to stay. And one day it will all be done. No one to remember in a significant way. Only the gain in writing it down. Our chances that it outlives many. Carrying only minor relevance to history that may be dated if any. Don't wait for tomorrow, live for today. Goings on will unravel by then. Predictions fall short of events to a letter. Bet on sport, here to begin. We could retrace our steps, correct a past. It won't come round again. Not possible for the people and organisms on which we depend. Sounds clever, but that gets you nowhere. Only lessons we have learned. Should our pathways play out that way, knowledge to become earned. Experience warns of danger. Don't fall later into the same well-laid traps. Resting, but not for too long. For good fortune to come, perhaps.
2/3 Weiss minus 1/3. The color referenced charge as words. Quarks have fractional charge values of minus 1/3 plus 2/3. Becoming white or neutral as a neutron, plus 1 as a proton color. Referred to as red, blue or green. Because they cancel each other. 2 down quarks, minus 2/3, 1 up, plus 2/3, total none. Well down quark is minus 1/3, totaling a plus charge of 1. Protons then carry the charge of plus 1. So it carries the sparks. Simply stated, 2 ups equal 1 1/3 plus charged quarks. Massless as photons and elementary. No apparent internal structure, of course. Mesons, quark-antiquark pairs with charge 0 work in the strong force. The bosons carry force binding protons to neutrons in the nucleus, while the gluons binding quarks into nucleons seem analogous. 5 human senses and 4 forces of nature. Perception always the key. Not to say others do not exist, only that they are not perceivable to me. Things we are not made to understand, confining us to being mortal. We have extensions, aids and instrumental enhancements for normal. From the stethoscope to radar, our sight and hearing become enhanced. Microscope and telescope make for observations that are far advanced. Those things that science give us like electronics and medicine belong as added extensions to detection, in which each item becomes strong.
Do not listen to what doctors say. If you're not on one, it's time to begin. Every morning starts one more first day of the rest of your life again. No telling how long. Check the calendar for scheduled executions. Destiny or fate, we all meet our maker. Every animal and humans. No guessing when the next era of life will be coming around, so stay alert. This all makes it sound so permanent. Every mass extinction on Earth. The planet has gone through it many times. Eminently, things on land. Wouldn't miss the next big event, even for the world. Be on hand. In actuality, we wouldn't be here but for such events. Top predator on land. Something else would have dominated a feeding cycle and stayed there. Timid herbivore hidden in foliage, never having had chance to prepare. Nature given chance always provides a niche depending on demand. Where and when any major climate shaping changes come, undetectable. Changing conditions in environment may be depended upon as inevitable. Consequences not predictable or completely understood above or below. Our core and mantle, unstable as the sun. Past events certainly show. Like a fault line is growing increasingly wider. It's based on past events. Good guess that a trend continues. Earthquakes we cannot prevent. Predictions, unavoidably, like prophecy or fate. Time is never certain. Always, it's going to happen. No one knows just how to determine.
Being so inconceivably great in what is detected into heaven's staring. Amazing is that we are able to accomplish making a view of it as such. Into perspective makes one feel insignificant to points of not caring. Our place in the vast unknown now is becoming better, in as much 30 trillion cells in a human body. It's more than stars in our galaxy. Singly adult brains contain more that number, used as an analogy. So what it's like, size of single star next to that of a cell specimen. Counting is ridiculous if it comes to such. And it's no comparison. Do not worry, it got the message across. No one here is trying for cheer. To have effect on the planet, you're better praying. Someone will hear. Energy used to send the tweet about a mouse fart next to an H-bomb. Think something meaningfully humorous, sounding as it may belong. Some days just aren't worth getting out of bed. Nothing to become said. Aim to make things better, not worse. That's simply all in your head. Nonetheless, we charge about, running in circles, repeatedly yelling, in desperate hopes someone will listen to what we wish to be telling. Goodness name, life's about something. We're on earth for reasons G. It is never obvious or clear. Put it to good use. Aim at some completion. Get it done, whatever it is. Raise a family, write a book, plant a tree. Tie up the loose ends. Put together pieces that exert cohesion.
From day to day, a body of knowledge compounds. Putting it on a shelf. Posting feelings to words paints emotional pictures describing yourself. Going back, read what you've written, then recall what you understood. Point being, it may become important to retrace an instance for good. The good of who and what may depend. Prefer it to have a happy end. At the last, all is dust and ashes. No avoiding, only prolonging it then. Things shall break down to simplicity. So keep it there to begin with. Entropic force keeping things as elements. Life's a complicated gift. The sun's envelope ejected, its core a white dwarf in absence of helium. Laid out in neat clouds, sprawling outward into interstellar medium. What in the stars we are fated to is a quantum chaos of cataclysms. Coagulation bringing together new generation planets and systems. Play on, no matter how long the propagation may be. Enjoy civilization. Merely a minute in 10,000 years' time. That comes to realization. The length of time it took to become that way is but the blink of an eye. They rise and fall like an empire. Last for a while, then goodbye. Planck's scale, where it becomes immeasurable. To the visible universe. Plotting, measuring, generating size and accuracy. To run it in reverse. Microcosm to macrocosm, we stand between that unseen and immense. Inconceivable and yet measurable. Mankind has done it. In our defense.
That would be the preclusion. Blessed are peacemakers, so remember. Little to do, in the slow processes of evolution, is the concept of nation. Species come and go. So nothing is special about ours but extinction. Should there exist a good in us, it is in the Messiah, our Redeemer. Rising on the backs of a hominid species prone to murdering any rival. Neanderthals departed prior to dawn of modern civilization's survival. Production of fertile offspring only bearing in the long separation. Written by prophets. Inspired by an almighty, culture's foundation. Heavens are seen as a pleasant future or enjoyable past we inhabit. Sins of our fathers may have led to our current place on this planet. Survival seems hardwired into our heredity. In fights over resource, kill or be killed. In ways of natural selection, is often the recourse. Possibility is endless. Habitat parted by distances to be unconnected. Look, but we cannot touch it. Methods vastly improve what's detected. The interstellar separator, however, makes their attainment hopeless. Modern astronomy is locating more planets and solar systems, no less. In seeing what happened long ago. Light of epochs before our society. Limited by perception and universal limit to the speed of luminosity. Any sign of intelligence, civilization, or culture no doubt wouldn't last. Occurrences view happened hundreds, millions, billions years past.
Of the Milky Way galaxy we're in, 3,000 light years across. Packed close, Orion Cygnus region contains thousands of solar systems, similar to ours. Likelihoods best here for others with life's symptoms. Ours may be not alone. Meaningless, all lost in tossed thoughts. Something of a sixth sense. Hear other thinking. Telepathy not proven. But sensations always persist. That we know what you are thinking. Prediction, prophecy, or intuition, whatever it's called, is only human. Retrace your steps and guess at some recurrence, the result linking. Betting against odds may achieve short gain. Long term, not well picked. That is experience, chance achieved purely by luck, not by any planning. By nature, we try to stay a step ahead if results are accomplished. Where well-laid strategy doesn't work, most odds are not enhancing. Everything beneath being set to topple you. Keep it common the belief. Guess what's to be achieved in a lifetime? Astronomically, that's brief. More so, pick any course of sustainability. It becomes the best bet. Remaining the top of anything forever is virtually impossible to get. That requiring complexity is prone to decay. Novel idea in simple terms. With too much floating debris. Remembering the sentence's concerns. Pass down orders that can become understood. Flow of thought clogs. Sum it up and say it briefly. So simple horses could understand or dogs.
So much of the surroundings are simply out of our hands to begin with. You will not affect them in a significant way. End point covered in myth. Watching weather explaining it. Effect of sun and moon interweaving. Extents to which we have limitedly overcome nature are deceiving. Flowing time takes with it an involvement and interaction in surrounding. Rhythmically, the pulsation of our blood flow continues to generations. Eventually it stops. Continuation of complexity continues abounding. Though as to the merriment of its maker, against most expectation. Elaborate assemblies take extensive support mechanisms to run oddly. 6 feet helically recorded in spiraling code for each cell in your body. Stretching more than the diameter of our solar system, it encumbers. For all cells in humans, about 60 billion miles of genetic numbers. Wish it to have meaning. If you like what you're doing, it takes no force. Monotony is tedium. Forget toil, that desire for freedom is in everyone. Let us each break from an old routine and do something that is fun. We all need our time and quickly tire of helping others, of course. Focus on objectives and establish your goals. Find the higher purpose. Better things are never given. They must become achieved by service. Between ups and downs, just rest in the middle. Could be a long stay. Everything in life does not have to be uphill. It only seems that way.
Not obvious, we share resources. In each exhalation is an assistance. What you do for others is what they do for you. Like or not, quite a lot. Cycle of oxygen and carbon dioxide from plants to animals far forgot. Merit to those with seemingly no purpose in affecting our existence. Acting willfully seem traits instilled complex life. Not in an organic range. To say the cosmos is a consciousness, one would agree it's cognitive. Awareness is one thing, intention another. A maker can effect change. On a large scale, the heavens seem predominantly more causative. Creation is planning, while evolution chances each change of its phases. In macro scale, given nearly immeasurable time, possibility increases. That is to say, cause and effect do not seem pre-planned, only random. Life seems to be an exception, not the rule. In terms of every atom, start theorizing what we can detect as a mathematically correct ending. So a conscious maker may exist, not in any way of our understanding. Limited by dimensions, we are not open to our own higher levels then. Not to be an atheist, only that infinity is beyond our grasp to begin. In most forms and including all of them, to be conclusive in everything. That is, and do not forget all that's not. Say Shakespeare is the king. His shows more so than much science in bare human understanding. Literature expanding limits to imagination. Intuition they're demanding.
No one's is empty. Not something you carry. More a condition you become. What's your bag? An old expression describing intention and purpose. Say it's your thing. Meaning, reason for being or made to do with us. Perhaps history as well. Overall destination and where you're from. His name to be exalted, worshipped, honored, and adored. A Lord's Prayer. Forgive our trespasses. Threats, assault, battery, wounding, and mayhem. Regarding our Almighty Maker. The one who gives life and its taker. False imprisonment to that which you are confined to by them. Only check to see it's legal. Regard the commandments and golden rule. Seek the truth with all your being. Don't be misleading or become a fool. In ways we are. When we just cannot do our thing. That's your bag. The new slang requires an urban dictionary on which reference is rag. If murder's your bag, man, you got it wrong. Seek truth, investigate and detect. Concepts more confined to murdering people, not catching fish. We simply say we caught the thing. So it happens to be your bag or wish. Willingly or not, we're guilty of killing. Often through neglect. To protect other lives, at times. And well as your own. Pull a trigger. Finger on it and the gun off, safety. A position becomes hard to figure. Described as self-defense when intruders on property claim offense. Without orders we make the decision. Inaction demanding recompense.
Choosing to execute innocent persons. Freeing criminals to population. Nature does it for us. Lacking ethic in slaughter that names civilization. Over ideology of innocence. Actions with equally evil intent as men. That nation persecuted by another. The criminal no friend of them. Animate entities perceived as higher levels. Not men at the top or rightful. Mother and father reason for the sexes. Being the case is rather doubtful. Nature's way and its effects on our environment. She will always win. Surrounding sensed feminine. Our makers then masculine or men. That realization embedded in creation. Sought by humanity to collect. Totality of entire situations explains it correct. Those being entwined. God as a Father Almighty and a Mother. Our earth culturally defined. Celestial bodies understand one another as interpreted by intellect. All situations are reversible. At which point time has the same bearing. Past still existing as our experience is retrievable. The two comparing. Until run in reverse. They become particle and antiparticle opposite. Force understood by what created it. So seen as cause and effect. Truly primal in nature. All others are compounded or not fundamental. Done to solve a mystery. They establish fact as final trails to internal. Particle annihilation and its complexity. Components not elemental. Clonic constituents and their decay. Leptons that are eternal.
Something standing out as extraordinarily different is said to be radical. Objects and ideas displaying new unheard of meaning we've acquired. Concepts, cloths or cars are said to be rad if abbreviations required. English slang that fits into writing which becomes ungrammatical. The slide at a playground or beautiful lady extending pleasantly deeper. If you must know, everything's groovy. Meaning it is in a smooth niche. Reference to vinyl records playing and how phonograph needles fit. Vibration converted to electronic impulses transmitted to speaker. Blow your mind by expanding consciousness and ascending reality. Far out of sight, transcending life's everyday tediousness or locality. You are trippin'. Misspelling of tripping refers to psychedelics effect. No sweat, crash, don't worry and go to sleep. Any problem neglect. Now don't freak out. Become excited and agitated, nervous or end up dead. Opposing amphetamine high. Lysergic acid diethylamide user, acid head. Get stoked by turning on. Interested, enthused, excited by intoxicants. A real bummer. Downer of the trip or bad experience, approximates. Once you're hip to the jive. Accept being straight as part of life to bear. Inevitably wind up as a middle class geek. Most of us are one of them. Somebody no one notices. Never to be discovered if you wanted then. Don't simply throw down with others cause everyone's going there.
No, it is there when you top the bill. All acts demanding encore grow. Life on the fast track. Kicking rush like a roller coaster's high and low. An adrenaline thing and how you control it. Quick stampeding thrill. Have stamina then endure it. Pumped physically and set to chill. Oh, and do not let it kill you. Just a train wreck. Could not be changed. No one'd want to and it is needless to try. Musical chairs so arranged. That happened, you cannot go back to undo it. You could prevent it. It means you are out and you missed another show. Nowhere to sit. Unlock the potential of your unconscious mind. More fanatic idealism. Delighted to think of him. Originally the savior of stylistic surrealism. Do not dilly-dally around. That is serious art. Solved the darn problem. Stay with the theme. Our subject's the artist, his work a volume. Become unfastened from reality. It must not have a topic, more a dream. An awakened slumber perhaps. Go back to sleep remembering the past, floating out of a blue horizon. Those light gray clouds you lazily grasp. Active now and mindful of objects. Things cannot be what they seem. An artistic statement in many ways worth more in death than anyone has. Unrecognized while he was alive. Algo and a synthetist style known as recalls slow hand. Man known as genius. Shown in the arrangement. Mention a name but don't steal the revealing signature Godwin sent.
So real to life, though not perfectly precise. Stylistic accounts as a rule. You can tell it was before new disposable razors and chromatography. Achieving a success in his own time, Claude Monet. French art school. Rendering Impressionism before the invention of color photography. None got far living on the fringe back then. Some are successful today. What we want as way out just didn't get very far back then, curiously. This was no crazy escape from reality. More dealing with it seriously. Quite commendable, made a living and clawed his way. You may say, the world around us, where time allows, as perceived it, in different ways. In the heart of most of us, the desire to express our own interpretations. Freedom and independence thrives as says and sees revelations. Blossomings of creativity exist everywhere in history where it stays. That new age of photography covering many great painters, none other. Know that renditions as memory will outlive us. An immortality in color. Edgar Degas, he liked answers. No surprise, ballet in full bloom then. So it is we have to copy down what we see. No regretting to begin. Some paintings took more than a year to complete, excluding disasters. A full family of talent lived to see his work stand next to great masters. Pain passes but beauty remains. Pierre Renoir, French culture anew. Completely irreplaceable, imitators many while teachers are few.
The two-sided coin with double meanings, Roman peace and Christianity. Two opposite, threat of a conquering empire versus that of compassion. First two letters in the Greek name Christ, and a threat of execution. Benevolence opposed to capital punishment by torture, rationality. About territory and resource. Adaptation dictating the successful creature. And it doesn't seem humanity has had much history of peace either. Natural selection states just the survival of repeated catastrophes. Tranquility coming only at a cost of horrific wars and calamity. A realm of heaven continually shaping us. Stars, asteroids, and comets may as well chill out. There is nothing to be done if acting divine will. You might create a medicine. You will not prevent a supernova still. Listen to the Prince of Peace. His is ultimately our best promise. Science, art, religion, and language influence cultural habitats we live in. A great societal significance produces alteration in surroundings then. Not so much as weather, however. Climate being what accounts for it. Bars of limitation always surround us. As to things we may risk, to sense that affecting us. In respect, we shape nothing on large scales. Immensities coming to focus, you can't move mountains, what's more. Stop the moon or prevent an eclipse. Only create the illusion it sells. Give thanks and praise, ultimately, that is all we're created for.
Branched emotionally by events of a decade. Written 30 years earlier. Tragic ending, however. You got it. Made her feel good as a role model. Summertime was composed as a song for an opera based on a novel. You're Gonna Rise Up singing made the case for a fast exiting career. They are so turned on. If you understand what that means. To get stoned. Point at which you feel nothing, numb and tranquil. That's for your head. Much so that your thinking becomes like a rock, inanimate and dead. A lost era, when many of us dropped out to avoid a war, not alone. After attending reform school, Chuck went on to write Johnny B. Good. Living to a commendably old age of 91. That's where he stood. Admirable fellow influencing rhythm and blues in all the major cities. Inventor of rock and roll. He became popular in the 1950s. Here's a rotational pinwheel nebula 8,000 light years from us. The axis of this binary system is directed approximately towards Earth. It's going supernova in the next 100,000 years. Looks a must. Directing deadly gamma rays back at us could become very adverse. Best go bury your head and kiss your ass goodbye. Adding no distinctions. Pay it no mind. It'll come up nobody knows when. Shit happens, always. That your maker wishes it. Absolutely nothing we could do anyways. There's no solution, friends. Join in just ignoring such predictions.
Having not been there, we make conclusions about the future. What is next? Predictability seems to indicate it happened before. It will again. Conditions determine any change. What goes around returns then. Face the future with apprehension. Be its guest. Do not become perplexed. Traveling down a corridor into the past. Here then gone again, it diminishes. An end shall always be at hand. Same as a beginning, it starts and finishes. Expect something new. Nothing remains the same. Now results in then. The past causes tomorrow. An unavoidable effect to begin. Be truth something unexpected, your branded heretic. It is blasphemy. Speaking against established wisdom may land you in a lot of trouble. When determining fools are that. Look in a mirror before you struggle. Best kept to oneself. The world shall never know. It's not funny. Do not become insulting. When you cannot back up your boast of others. Talk more pointed than a sword instigates hatred, and why man suffers. The world doesn't need to know some things. When used as a weapon. If you cannot be taken for your word, then you're the liar, so reckon. Practice what you preach. We are hypocrites baiting a trap with that. Set to entangle logic. Understand fairness, watch for tricksters. Until insult becomes injury. It is only intimidation. Taunting words to snare. Actions become preemptive should it cause death. You shall care.
Treachery to one, strategy to another. Depending on prey and abundance, we personify that as a consciousness, not understood as an audience. What deals the cards in terms of our environment isn't anything alive. Overall, our surrounding doesn't seem to care so long as we survive. Ours the tiniest fraction of entirety. Life seems rare on a cosmic map. Dependence on hunting not always being the case. Try going without. A pretty face with an evil mind becomes linked to that kind of a trap. Finally, something we look for. An endless search, what life's about. That which you may not care to become renowned for, and reasons why. Not to stand out too much. You may get yourself hanged. So don't try. Everyone seems to want to be known for notoriety in what is famous. But obscurity is common. In it is protection. Hide in a crowd, the aim is. Raise a child, write a book, plant a tree. Above mentioned are but three. Die with nearly nothing. What is left when you are gone? Wish we knew. The perfect wave or number. A wedding too. Descriptions of infinity. Wait a lifetime. So try to have accomplished at least those few. Try not to complicate life, that's simple. Stupidity is easy to understand. Repeat over again. In evolution, the smartest don't always get farthest. Survival may not take brain or muscle, only patience that's hardest. Strongest won't last longest. Surrounding determines all at hand.
Entanglement sees each particle in the universe as from the same speck. Hard to imagine. Stretched over the visible cosmos back to its origin. Even so, you may say we are part of the same entity in turn to begin. Exponential universal expansion, result of cosmic collapse's outset. The opposite of eternal inflation. Or point where it overcomes resistance. That is the bounce back. Everything into nothing, then backward again. Rebounding off a giant trampoline, each once of weight in existence. Ridiculous, of course. You were produced from a complete void then. Eternal vacuous membranes bedded in matrices connected by black holes. Of dinner, that is. Including lunch, as much to fathom as our eternal souls. Multiverses undetectable to us. Interconnected by particles they send. Held together like layered lasagna. When that's gone, the end. The bubble universe, or foam in a glass. An endless sea that shall forever last. Boundless, the better description of inconceivable. What the case may be, indeterminable and beyond all boundaries of any perceptions we see. Like looking underwater through great oceans dark and vast, the almighty creator of time, men those persistent accountants thereof. Were it not our insistence each instant be assigned increment and value, there'd be no deadline with death, age and interest meaningless to you. Waiting would have no weight, life without numbers to worry of.
Ubiquitous as hair on your head, days in the year or hours in the day. Sip and swallow is not a drink, but ounces per cup for which you paid. Drops of water in an ocean, atoms in a universe, for reasons counted. Would not say stuffed or full, and must number the morsels amounted. There is a purpose you'd want information to be known or remain hidden. As with genocidal dictatorship and the people that would be got ridden. For what each man says and does, all others have their sway on earth. Reasons we trace lineage and count ancestors, for what it's worth. Some good examples are David, John and Jesus. What surrounds them? Bloodlines wouldn't mention, from and extending to the bitter end. Baptist, King, Apostle and the Lord, individuals of notoriety in history. Those who would want to be known. For survival, others remain a mystery. Angle nature's way centered on extending life's experience indefinitely. Alliance and resource transferring hands through bargaining initially. Taken by conflict in the end. Apprised become new rulers again gaining. Altering conditions, adversaries and allies continually changing. Terrifyingly small compared to stellar objects. Life forms a thin film coat around a tiny rocky planet. For about 20% all time we denote. Extremely rare complexity from our standpoint, viewing out into space. Amazingly unique, each of us. Every species and form states.
As you get older, it seems of less consequence that you've more to lose. Today is the first day of the rest of your life, or even possibly the last. Inevitably, you die. The hour nameless, counting only the years past. Halfway point unknown. As we become fully grown and reproduce, were things perfectly arranged and predictable. No decision is required. Effortless doldrums filled with stagnation. Inactivity leading to boredom. Answers always given. Ordered lives, why we choose not to lead one. We learn to accept change to the point it often becomes desired. Technique, technology, and methods are hidden, unrecorded, or denied. Saving toward future and posterity. Knowledge, art, and literature strive. Building ancient monuments, making instruments, or a microprocessor. Technologies in particular are sometimes lost, never to be recovered. A lot of time we listen to our guts and not our brain. When it calls, mind. Fact being, they were around in our progression of development first. Anchored to sea floors before any free-floating organisms dispersed. Bellies, then nerves and brains. Much how we developed they find. Shit your brains out. Nerve is in the middle. Genius the rear, for instance. Energy-hungry organs take a lot of calories. Why guts in the first place? Technology ends with the resource upon which it has dependence. Taking nerve and brains in order to survive wasn't always a case.
You might never be so bold to claim there is nothing left to be discovered. Truth be frightening. You may not want to know inevitable consequences. That it is better left a mystery. Judgment partly determines sequences. What effect we have on an outcome better when it's uncovered. Determining all there is as absolute. For intent and purpose it may be close to nothing. Immensity of the total surrounding being what we see. Any part we determine accepted. Nature is stronger. We are weaker. Effect on the universe being nil. Yet it is not completely zero either. Gather round all the segments and make a whole. One solid picture send. Hopeless as consequence broadcast outward. Directed in. Concentrate. Say it only once. You cannot take your words back, so first think again. Meditative message with clairvoyant meanings you don't reiterate. Keeping the wheels of thought turning. Pastime to pacify the idle instance, not to be understood. Poets work ways at musically rhythmic nonsense, sayings which may become committed to memory by matching words, for no more reason than to solve a puzzle. Mental appetite that curbs. Couldn't write like professionals on typewriters with a mechanical spacer. Word processing does in an instant what would take hours in old times. Dyslexic inability less computers to aid in organization of lines. Dreaded writing pages by pen and paper or pencil with eraser.
What soothes your mind? Inner contentment is hard to find or organize. One thing at a time. Move on to the next chore. Set it up to supervise. Taken from the top. Run down a to-do list. What is to be done today? Accomplishing a task is well and good. Go get started. Do not delay. Singularly, it is not too complicated. Same time, they are too much to fight. Sometimes the words flow. At times you just don't know what to write. Most of us tend to keep it in, building up pressure until we scream. Coping with problems, small clashes become big affairs, it seems. Possibility of detecting extraterrestrial civilizations are a bleak notion. Rather simple paragraph or complex formula we blasted into space. Pointless in a lifetime. It will never be heard. Shout cross an ocean. Getting answers would require more than recorded history to trace. Better believing in spirits and magic on the topic than scientific designs. All logic states simply impossible. Earth senses as we know them here, leading to an unexplained telepathy. Dreams foretelling future times. They sometimes do. Recalling revelations that quickly disappear. Faith and prophecy are real. Particularly history written before it occurs. Angels delivering messages from our Creator. Basis of modern religion. Most world-changing result in terms of our own kind is spiritualism. Science may not save us. Nature might if we are ones it prefers.
Contentment in knowledge, like money or power, we only want more than. If it becomes your end, you learn you shouldn't begin. That is desire. Eternal life, not material wealth. What in the here and now we require. Proper balance is relevant. Enough for today. No one knows the end. While our objective intellects display short-term periods of enlightenment, points of inevitable consequences are so small as if to be non-existent. Overwhelmingly expansive environment that surrounds us abases it. Unimportant if you feel little then. It's because you are, admit. Get samples, qualified opinions determine the uniqueness of your view. In getting far, that may be determined by a way in which you handle it. If something is to be taught or to reconcile it with yourself, be candid. Be open to criticism, though dead certain. You may be wrong too. A biosphere containing millions of forms. Humanity making such height. Earth's knowledge contained in those crystals vaporized in an instant. Eclipsed like a tiny snowflake falling on an unquenchable forest fire. Analogy being recombinant chemical formulas for every form of life. In an unknown infinity of totality, anything is possible, just not reachable. Once gone, that could take hundreds of millions of years to come back. Chances of anything falling into the same sequence, incalculable. Nothing within our power to control. But to recognize exactly that.
Confusing mathematicians Lagrange and Legendre, same period of history. Sound alike but different people. Science is power with numbers, a victory. Celestial mechanics and thermodynamic potentials are what they exert. Homonyms or homies for short. Two math people who were experts. Thermodynamics is the subject of heat to forces acting between bodies. Developed as a desire to increase the efficiency of steam engines. Many practical applications are applied to this that are not hobbies. Open your refrigerator or liquefy gases into rocket fuel that mentions. Based on the work of an Italian astronomer and celestial mechanics again, where we have located our space telescope, hoping for decades to run, boosting an orbit to become concentric with the Earth, Moon and Sun. Point where it becomes stable with little correction required then. Carl Gauss brought about using his mathematician's triangulation network. The heliotrope instrument used for survey required inaccurate mapping. Instrumental in building railroads and communication works overlapping. Improve accuracy in predicting orbits. Where Ceres might lurk. Electric and magnetic fields in space at light speed as waves they are on. James Maxwell, known scientist for theory of electromagnetic radiation. Described electricity, magnetism, and light as the same phenomenon. Second unification in physics only to Isaac Newton's revelation.
Surprisingly, on paper, this was done. Longevity, the great experiment. Look at the jellyfish. Having been around that long, nature shaped it. That meddling sciences can survive millennia is questionable, admit. You may not need a brain, only to fit in with your total environment. Encroaching technology creating artificial surroundings takes explanation. Even deep space, run on solar energy, subjects things to degradation. Resource supporting the innovation being required to outlive it as well. With ample minerals, then underwater you might have a hard shell. What works in a short run, then suffering catastrophic oblivion long term. Accelerated technology, like slow natural selection, is prone to lapsing. Failure of resources and environment, what they inevitably reaffirmed. Most anything complex is subject to breakdown, then collapsing. Concept based on the premise of vital locomotion, prehensile grip here. A principle on which we are made. Functions, with meanings understood. Based on the same basic design. Wing no good without atmosphere. Diversification on a theme can only take it so far. All well and good. The line will end. Drawn so far but never leaving base it's connected to. A meaning to support life, you might say. A pride posture, then riding. When left to crawl. Getting down to earth. Escape from what's biting. The easy way out. Be it up or down. Directions in which we grew.
Assets to any of the circumstances under which we dwell and multiply. Recombining desired mutations, anything different proving beneficial. Genetically related by combinations of a molecular structure's riddle. Disruption inevitable to long periods of experimental complexity. Why? Nuclear fusion, strong force producing gravitational compression. Next. Pressures contribute to forging elements. Eras and time wins instantly. Stacking up cards until the structure breaks, unimaginably complex. Drilling deeper gravity wells to new dimensions of time and density. Even where powerful tools of science like the electron microscope play. Outside spheres of mind we have. Limited by our sense of perceiving. Outlying a visible universe. Dark realms lay undetected and intriguing. No longer measurable, one might say. Not by mortals like us, anyway. Imagination, however, has no boundary. That is not detectable, we warn. From extremely large to incredibly small. There is no way to take in all. We only reach limits to which we are restricted by our physical form. We make it up as fiction. Some things exist only as fantasy, recall. Hence a parallel universe and other versions of us which are imaginary. Like the square root of negative numbers seen through a looking glass. Now that it is all backward, it dawns merely as a reflection we see. That thing in a mirror is our brain at work, seeing what has passed.
Some transitional fossils as swimming fish join four-legged vertebrates, filling in gaps that were missing. The mysterious process of life's tree. Tiktaalik, Archaeopteryx, and Australopithecus sediba to name three. Dinosaurs into birds, then early hominins to Homo sapiens it makes. Quadrupeds emerged onto land from sea in the late Devonian, it's said. Covering 375 million years it eventually has led. Bird-like dinosaurs first appearing in the latter Jurassic, that's supposed. Leading to Homo sapiens in the Pleistocene. It is now proposed. It's an angry planet and mean universe in which we dwell, no exception. Most what evolves on land starting over again with much in the ocean. Then, every 100 million years or so, heading into mass extinction. Tectonic upheaval along with meteors and asteroids are the notion. Age of mammals called Cenozoic. We came about in the Quaternary. Last 12th part of a time span lasting 65 million years. We are pretty short-lived in terms of this planet's history, it appears. Proof then that intelligent life appeared almost overnight, not contrary. That our maker forgives may be coincidence, as meteor strikes collect. More on adaptability, simplicity, large or small. Both have advantages. It could end as quickly. Survival not always dependent on intellect. Earth, a little planet 4.5 billion years old that manages.
For a very same reason some believe in afterlife, others would deny any. Recall and memory carry limited versions to what we remember or bury. Life after is the living. Conscious or not, they have recorded meaning. That immortal souls exist isn't proven, much like a supreme being. Belief is based on faith. It exists in us all. That the sun is going to rise. Seasons will change. Falling objects must land. Seems logic applies. Causality and its meaning. Undetermined reason from a beginning. Carried as the consequence of an initial action's effect imprinting. Effect of a bigger flock, larger swarm, or huge population is meaningless. When all are variations on the same theme, copies become worthless. Nations or ethnic races being separate editions of the same groups. Transitionary figures evolve that way. Their number repetitive loops. Where it originated is questionable. No one could read it. Far as we see. Like islands, satellites surround us. Washed to distant shores, we agree. Your messages may be meaningless. A reason it was sent is the key. We are all stranded on a small rocky planet. In an immense galaxy. Fossilization replaces minerals by recrystallization into different forms. Rarity of complex life become issues to which intelligence conforms. For records to become fossilized require 10,000 years recall. Contemplating the vastness of it all, it tends to make us seem small.
That's a case. Kidnapping or mayhem heard. Logic, coincidence, or evidence. Make your voice understood. They want truth or one admissible thumbprint. Any witness you may call is imperative. Spoken as true reference. That permitted in courts of law. It would mean a great difference. Fixed objects that will give the same reason. Not trying to get ahead. Bystanders view that part still is. That cards are drawn without stipulations. What law says, limited by bias. Works of creation, so people said. Any teachings capitulating a meaning within their limitations. Question distance to a nearest civilization or how things are transported. Mineralization being a slow, rare form of solidifying living formations. Not entirely outside realm of possibility. Earth-head visitations. Intelligent life, that is. Leaving no imprint lasting or recorded. No fossil record. A more intriguing form of recording than inscription. An entire era for signals to be sent. Time span long as written depiction. Taken that length for a radio wave to get here. Marking it in stone. The length of time required for mineralization to occur in bone. At points even microbes may not survive. If convicted by our environment. Governed by nature, mankind may be on trial. Inevitably, we all will be. Partially, we created it. Be conscious that it may become a calamity. Choose well then. Do whatever you can in seeking enlightenment.
Advancements in recent medicine and warfare have become necessity. Modern civilization has heightened humanity with befuddling complexity. Sustaining it requires increasing amounts of energy and raw materials. Increasing the ways to cure and kill people, both nuclear to bacterial. Like empire technologies are prone to failure. If they are not sustainable. The problem in conquest defending all the borders that are conquered. Science protects discoveries. Where used in both the ways observed. Healing or destruction seem inevitable courses becoming desirable. Everything in the universe is interconnected in ways that aren't obvious. Overgrazing and depletion of irreplaceable resources the courses take. Extinction of everything appearing non-beneficial is a great mistake. Certainly not law. Opinion only, casual observation as a hobby of. Might is right in survival of the fittest. Assumed conditions are impending. Completely welcome to share your opinion. Don't become threatening. Backing up any claim with proof and evidence may become required. That until you freeze, drown, or suffocate. Due to disorders undesired. Balance recommended in what we can control. Emotions are unreliable. Hatred and anger do not help. One amplifying the other if so compared. Habitats important to all of us. One disrupting the other is unavoidable. Meaning only, you can't change the weather. So best come prepared.
The direction of change is based on environmental differences evolving. Whatever best fits any new conditions. Adaptability is problem solving. Sociological influences have effect on all associations or involvement. Timing is of the essence, demands change. Nothing stays solvent. Allowing adaptation and eliminating that unsuited by its own autonomy. Results are validations of struggles for survival in quality or quantity. Progressing developments in framework that supports it molds life. Peculiarly, we all fit a niche. Uniqueness in its own way applies. Eternal life has unlimited value. Most valuable thing you own's yourself. Your physical body, that is. Without which bounty is of no significance. Grandiose figure, number appearing in a dream, determining wealth. Maintain it as a structure you dwell in. Whatever the circumstance, to exist and flourish takes boundaries. Room to move and a giving menu. Territorial imperatives impart important messages to any form of animal. Ultimatums exist in terms of basic requirements needed to continue. We need to live and want to multiply. It is instinctually rational. Into plights that have created acute misery. Seeing humor in grief smugly. Raising any form of mood out of misery takes insight and association. Laughingly stupid may become super intelligent. Reality is too ugly. Momentarily forgetting pain with laughter as a serious medication.
Created for a paved course and dependent on it. The meaning, submerged. Tool makers to the end. Our pinnacles prone to corrosive envelopments. Precision, power, and speed take the competitive edge in developments. Accelerated evolution in industry. Same way modern humans emerged. Interpreted literally, they are not the same. Lending a hand, don't be fooled. Becoming stupid or used. That is sometimes referred to as being too old. Urban slang and alternate meaning. Wherever it's from, understood. That tooling means more than ways of building things with wood. For reasons we are not aware of. If only in breathing you complete a cycle. In ways we are tools of nature. Designed for purpose of accomplishment. Decay is destructive but has purpose. It forces complexity to recycle. Completing every task it sets out to do without admonishment. It'd be a dress or person wearing it. Where other descriptions are at a loss. Incredibly awesome, miraculous, or great is sometimes referred to as boss. Exercising control or authority, nothing to do with those outfits. Heighten nouns with verbal adjective as a situation permits. Overindulgence of various sorts. Too much of what seems tremendous. Wine and beer, nicotine or ice cream. Repetitive intake of any stimulus. Becoming reliant on. Point to where you are addicted to revitalization. Strung out denotes drug dependence. Could mean lack of motivation.
Inside it remains a mystery. Astronomers explain what it's about. Mostly that given no forethought. A daytime path in the sky we learn. With each sunset a wonder we'll see it rise again. It shall no doubt. Slept too long, still dreaming. Death you met. Part of the concern. An orchestra of resonating tones that are stored as melodies in our mind. A notion converted to motion. Rhythmic tonality carried on in a theme. Full octaves as the sound waves with twice or half the vibration seen. Timed with the numbered beat of a percussion so tightly defined. On the subject of music, its part in our basic nature. The sense of sound. Why the development and what it conveys. An emotional picture product. An ocean of stimulus that flattens and becomes a storm composite. Anthems and titles to identify subjects. On which passion is bound. Strike up the bend may sound funny. Taken to extremes with no reaction. Most people do, where it hits you in the face. Noise makes less contact. Doesn't hurt in the same way. But may become taken as insulting at that. That's how it may knock you. Then it was only audio distraction. Rather you're yodeling or yo to stop yelling falsetto. Don't strike back. Control the emotions others could use to their advantage, if suited. It's just noise that's aimed at inciting you to do something stupid. Don't stick around. You'll die of old age waiting to make contact.
On this green planet, which relative to all of creation is nearly nothing, a speck of dust, sitting happy in the Lord and rejoiceful in his temple, not ignored by our Creator and evidently unique in its beginning. Grain of salt in all the vast oceans, seemingly so infinitesimal, not indefinite. Individuals can't do it. You do not live that long, admit. For intent and purpose, it may well be then. Wait a few million years. Logic fails when that which had a beginning has no end, it appears. In our own perception, forever is an end of time and is then infinite. In our own awareness, time continues limited by an electron's might. Distance traveled one point to another by massless particles of light. Cosmological detection indicates all perceivable to us had an origin. Our reflexes indicate that as electric signals in the nervous system. Respiratory and cardiovascular rates too. Indicated as detectable pulses. The blink of an eye, interpreted literally then as an interval of measure. Counted then divided by mechanical motion or vibrations together. The incremental click of each second hand on your clock thus is. Insight is learned experience of things that happened once they are gone. It may be perceived as layered, but our form is confined to one of them. Only memories may travel into the past. Reasoning and endeavors end. This time frame our membrane. One directional the plane we are on.
Say it clearly. Give it rhythm. Transcribe your thought into rhyme by guess. Rewording another's work implying same meaning. Truth isn't worthless. Stay on the level. Don't offer words in line that none would understand. Music becomes vocal. Blending in ways added orchestration can. Ask forgiveness before you die. All of our Lord's creation will open to you. Repentant or not, we face the same end. Accept fate and life's finality. Words of a thief. Mortality is a hoax and heaven the true reality. Otherwise expect to suffer. Don't be obstinate, then damned you. On either side of Jesus, two men hung on crosses. They both were thieves. The right one asked forgiveness. Another did not, enjoining the crowd. Joking that he in the middle to come down and save us were it allowed. Don't stand with those in tempting Christ. Follow what he believes. Irreprehensible close defines a villain on his left. Admitted badass misfit. Joker to a thief. Side with one who's right. Lasting reward is heaven. Ask forgiveness, don't be impenitent. If you wish suffering, so be it. One with no desire to reform at all. That was his expression. Angels are real, we are made to understand. Your judge and maker is him. How this came about, and what intervened, is up to a big guy in the sky. Hippopotamus to crocodile, all that swims. Cannot be one of them. Creation is fact, well as evolution. The fossil record does not lie.
The long wall and watchtowers of Jerusalem were determined views of history. Back in the times of Jesus, Romans, Jews, and Gentiles guarded the city, whereas outside the barricade lay lawless lands which were anomalous. Gates to the town and temple were watched, as were its populace. Those who say Jesus are correct. To world's greatest martyr titles gone, loosely interpreted as male offspring of rulers. Toward Messiah digress. From David to Solomon headed to their sons. These titles progress. In the time of monarchs, succession of kings and princes was long. These become arrogant, for nature will choose what to discard or use. All that surrounding us determines conditions for life. Do not confuse. Your bloodline has little to do with environment. That is never stable. As a species, for that matter. Good luck in being chosen and able. An asteroid the size of a city, 10 kilometers across. He might send it. Random or pre-planned, our maker does, on occasions, shoot colossal dice. As massive interstellar objects directed at this planet. That is not nice. The process in which Earth formed has slowed but not ended. Since it seems to have had a beginning, it leads also to events that are final. In understanding cosmology, we're taken to assume initial conditions then. Best fear your maker, because no one knows when time will end. Start as it may be. Coming to conclusion, there's no denial.
Mysterious power tethering them together. Deep understanding leads to that which is constant within our visible universe. Refer to gravity. Physics of falling objects. Acceleration of matter in free fall for one. Force of attraction within the planet orbits. Earth, Moon, and Sun. How our existence originated and how it shall eventually become undone. Where reversal begins. Point where it would end and is then overcome. There is no return if sunk past that line. Noted as slow evaporation. Speed of light versus gravity. The only thing escaping is radiation. Contradicting the Bible by confirmation of heliocentric views was Galileo. Placed under house arrest by Inquisition and a Catholic Church's ego. The understanding of galaxies was yet to be heralded as new wisdom. Establishing supporting evidence for the sun-centered solar system. Varying particles of matter in the universe attract one another inversely. Statement that a force is directly products of the masses in reiteration. As a square of distance between them. Law of universal gravitation. Momentum repels them. Products of mass and velocity diversely. Direction of force is a straight line between two bodies. It is attractive. Apples fall from trees because they feel direct gravitational impact of. The constant is an empirical physical entity involved in that effect. What Newton's law and Einstein's theory of relativity detect.
Renormalization, a procedure with the divergent parts of the calculation. Nonsensical infinite results absorbed by redefinition to finite answers. Separated from electromagnetism, what a graviton particle transfers. Gravity waves exist. The question, a medium in which that is laden. Again, questions arise as to the nature of any field through which it acts. Space-time affected by a physical body's mass is a fundamental force. Wave-particle duality, much like the electron and photon known facts. Weak effects on photons can be detected with a big enough source. Larger concentrations make deeper perforations, seen on a flat surface. Gravity as space-time reversal. In cases completely collapsing a frame, single points entering into different dimensions for an exact purpose. Consider two dimensions as an indentation or curvature on a plane. Time slows, velocity accelerates given a reference point's data release. Nearer the speed of light or closer to black holes, curvatures increase. Minuscule, though detectable in miles from Earth's center, of course. Relative as to distance from any measurable gravitational source. Unexplained void in which it is perpetrated by a force carrying effect. Describing drags of weight as particle effects doubtfully neglect, proven through direct observation. This yet to be seen in a project hinting on dark matter or boson energy, the observational defect.
Lifted feeling, direct days ahead. Holidays are plenty. Feelings are sent. What gets in our way is cast aside. Toward merriment moods support. All is well. Moving with caution. The fading night leaves unbent. Cascading sunlight fills the shadows as they fade and become short. Thoughts of crowds we would like to avoid. We're pointed toward pain. The dirty outdoors versus a sterile contained environment we maintain. People, plants, and poisons all stay in a chemical and emotional sway. Get back, stand aside, and stay away. You continually like to say. Calm then smooth or rocky and jagged. We pursue courses separately. Assuredly all is where you left it before we slept. We'll follow life's path, so we assume. In a well, down a new road from yesterday's past. Every day is a different view of the things that remain indefinitely. Cycle of life continues. Like an orbit of the moon, confidence in knowing. The sun sits unobscured on clear mornings. Nature is aboundingly fit. After rain it is cool and damp as healthy new plants are growing. Mountains are still there, as stand the villages that surrounded it. The poor wife is moaning as pain has passed her legs. It is dismal. Depressing trials of age seem to follow points heightened and blissful. You can't get around everyone. Ignoring them will not make it go away. Awaiting the inevitable consequences of becoming born, you might say.
An end is better moving than standing still. Step forward without doubt. Waiting on edges of indecision for tilt and sentiment to send a message. Inevitably attacked, made to run. Waiting forever ends in wreckage. Eventually it gets you moving. Never knowing what for. Go find out. Overall, an effect on the universe is next to none. Trying is the only hope. Get it done, there's a mission. Patience usually pays. Don't die waiting. Recording thought creates a map to retrace the course you're taking. What you're thinking. We might say. One less problem to cope. A project that cures idleness. To all us lazy workers seeking meanings, easy on land, not middle of the ocean, then there is at least direction. What that did accomplish was directing a path. Know the destination. Then one thing leads to another. Go back to retrace your feelings. History repeating severe bad messages. And in catastrophe is avoided. Similar but not identical. Circumstances not exactly same, it's pointed. Knowing what led up to this end is how it could have become derailed. Gain momentum, making it harder to stop. Stay on the tracks detailed. Back to drawing board on a table. We're looking for ideas that are new. Realities are which end up like that. Designed by an engineer's view. Come up with innovative design. Matching others' insight or linking. Generally described as our train of thought. Locomotion in thinking.
Reaching adulthood, stop to reminisce. Accomplishment at hand that nears. An entire generation seems to fade into obscurity. Known going to school. After you have been looking through the same glasses for 15 years. Remembering those wonderful times when we were younger fools. Gets to a point things do not really change much. Teen years left in dust. Advantages abound, striking out on our own. Realizing we are not alone. Wanderlust overcoming the love of home. Not waiting until we are grown. Wanting the world in different ways. If opportunity pays, we must try finding some way to recuperate diamonds, replacing them with paste. How far you got is where it has gone. Playing to a future each new song. Then one day you wake to find it is over. Each ounce of talent a waste. Stages of lifetime's end. Stand in and want to be goes on and on. Set it straight. You become a superstar by what selfish promotion makes. Scouts in unending droves. Creating an idol with each new rehearsal. Recognized genius prefers to hide in obscurity. View the talent circle. Supporting artists is burdensome. Hardly worth the effort it takes. Wait out statutes. You made a hit. Now legal to rob you, the thieves set in. Nothing done for more than fun. Pushed to limits. That stardom expires. Then the producer just sits on it. Hollywood's the last song to begin. Hope of comeback all but gone. Everyone shuts up and retires.
Unless you're able to back it up. Growling and baring teeth, not a notion. Enjoy the feeling of uncensored freedom before it's burned or frozen. Intimidation will not work unless you carry your might with a weapon. Written or spoken, it is what we feel. Criticize but don't threaten. Taking one in any direction. Very free-flowing until it hits a solid object. Riding and driving are not quite the same. Free as that may introject. Behind the wheel of an automobile experiences similar restriction. The pen or the highway, laws are applied. Best stick to fiction. Heavy bodies in free fall with earth are a lot of power to steer around. The important effect in writing, that you finish a story. Your pages fill. Such the effect, increasing speed with incline till you leave ground. Force in momentum as you pick up haste. Accelerating downhill. Once airborne your car will not steer. Headed in a straight line the story. Everyone climbed out before it crashed. Gravity holds no resistance. With conclusion upon landing and coming to stop. Before it got gory. Narrated tales may turn in midair. A good report halts the sentence. Fantasy and imagination are more the traits humanity we have extended. So the difference between laws of nature and rules of man are debated. With detailed understanding, they can become true. A myth is mended. Suggestions are welcome, they are only that. Science fiction related.
Man got to be tripping. Going to take me back to this flashback. Long hot night in 67. Just panting our little drawers off. Staring at that lava light you got and my roll joints in a stack. Licking them papers with my tongue. Like it's going up and down her trough. Honestly, get your mind out of the gutter. Dwell on something wholesome. Low lifts on this planet seem to outweigh the good. Don't get gritty now. Keep pushing it to the back of your mind. Of all people or places, how? Seen this somewhere. And dealt with creatures who are loathsome. Live today, you don't know what tomorrow will bring. It'll soon be here. Exercise forethought, worry when it arrives. To the present give cheer. We are born with purpose. The reason for living is fulfilling a mission. Luck seldom hits twice. Good fortune depends on your position. If the law supposes that the law's an ass, taking care of them he knows. Rule this way, don't assume responsibility in which mistreatment goes. Winding up in a poorhouse, it is no good. Many people do in life. Mr. Bumble spread misfortune in charge of charity and his wife. Makes you glad for the 21st century. Those times were not so kind. Slice of life from 1800s England, Charles Dickens novels. Oliver Twist and Tale of Two Cities characterize life at that time. The misery created in struggles over wealth and democratic models.
Knowing every loophole in legal matters and money. Watch your steps. Cash he returned. Uriah Heep has left. Once he gambled at bad bets. Astute to each catch. Avoiding what's inevitable. He was well taught. So go around it if the law isn't looking. Until this attorney is caught. Good Lord, it has become desperate. You're thinking it could be easier. Well, now that everything makes sense, we are all simply interrelated. That's what we both were thinking. It's not actually that complicated. Let up a moment, sort it out. No, really, just relax. Take a breather. Always make sure that the way is clear before venturing your next step. Danger may lurk on every sidewalk. Be certain each sign is well read. Then wander on forward. Best don't look up though. Eyes right ahead. Endings are inevitable. Clear as a bell. That was your last regret. Regrettably didn't matter. Got it, ya don't need it. Need it, ain't got any. Ascending any lofty altitudes that surely makes anyone plain dizzy. Carrying lots of medical insurance. Get up there and make a living. Until all of it comes crashing down on you. An only big misgiving. Down the drain with the rest of our sorry life. Reminding everyone of me. Of all the vacuous demented comedy put on a planet and what it says. Glug gloop glop and maybe gurgle gurgle as we sink serenely at sea. Pretty much that's it. Chap doesn't have a name. Where this heads.
Adjectives say what is very funky. That man had already been convicted. Watch it if you are pulling a prank. Die is the verb. Nouns are like fun. Blam is his exclamation used in reply. Not knowing, he carried a gun. Bashklitska, it's a noun. Sound made by the splash of a liquid. Now continue about your business. That you're sick won't matter much. Do not dirty your hands or make a point to clean them in the first place. Always be aware of microbial hitchhikers and everything you touch. Well, it is back to work. Nobody wanted your job, it's in bad taste. Serving up a fast feast, it is realized that you must be losing your head. Head to have ham. And chief's helper is an expert. What the order said. Darn it, no dip this meal. And time to find a new waiter, you see now. We shall get it for you. The restaurant now famous. That was how. Both fly out windows on the 5th floor. Having no cans to say goodbye. This is how life gets after many years. You just can't stand each other. Springs of youth dried up. Life gets sour. Wishing the other would die. One day at the dinner table, over a wishbone. It's over, mother. Now an extremely easy to read a plot here. You can tell where it is going. But in the world of things gone mad, you know it is very likely going to. It has put its foot down good and easy. Look up and to foing. Another famous discovery has landed. Hopefully not on top of you.
Clone a few copies of me. With today's modern service at our fingertip, it's worth checking out. Not only paper copies, your lame body as well. Identical duplicate idiots. Thought the first was bad, who could tell? Wasn't worth reading in the first place. Nobody would look at it. Ready, aim, fire. Can't miss seeing me down here. But just would not say. Geez, stop messing round. Get the thing loaded. They're headed this way. Golly, it's a plane. We are saved. Get that box of flares. Do not miss. Oops, bad shot, hit its wing. Wait for the next one, you guess. This is how Captain Klutz got started. Reading those trashy magazines. Normal childhood, his parents threw him out for doing nothing, it seems. So preoccupied with that stuff, he couldn't keep his mind off comics. Still living a deft fantasy world destined for the life of heroics. Every vocation became a failure. Employment agencies wouldn't listen, making no difference where it landed. Fortune was fit to his condition. He couldn't mix, unfortunately, thinking it better to take the easy way. On his trip down, he picked up a uniform. The hat was thrown away. The police gave him a sound pat on the back, recognizing him as a hero. As fate would have it, he stopped a hold-up man who was then arrested, stationed there on the sidewalk. That new title remained unrejected. They went away, leaving him standing, still in his underwear though.
Nicolaus Copernicus proposed the sun as a fixed center of the universe. As astronomer Aristarchus had made models 18 centuries before. Not dead-on. Before telescopes, they believed it revolved around Earth. Aristotle showed our planet as round. Bilunar eclipses what's more. And hence, Earth, well as the other planets, revolved around the sun. Galileo's discoveries prove that the Copernican system was correct. The convex objective lens with concave eyepiece in a long tube begun. Discovery of Jupiter's moons, with merely a 20 magnification effect. Kepler discovered Earth and planets travel in elliptical orbit as thought. Time planets take circling the sun relate to radii of orbits that dot. Lines from planet to sun cover same area in equal time, his notion. Giving science the 3 fundamental laws of planetary motion. This is half of 2 possibilities. They need to turn the equation around. Keeping electrons within orbitals requires that the spin is up or down. Scientists discuss angular momentum as right and left-handed again. Physics and particles then. Enough on miracles of modern medicine. This property pertains to the magnetic moment of an unstable electron. That's conduction or intrinsic angular momentum of primary elements. Spin polarization is the degree to which polarity aligns with direction. In ferromagnetic materials, it gives rise to the polarized currents.
Plus and minus half magnitude of angular momentum's permanent then. 3 inherent properties of an electron are its mass, charge and spin. A fundamental unvarying property like charge of the electron to begin. Spin is a quantum property of electrons, a form of angular momentum. Mass dependent on energy. It seems that charge does not change. Manifestation of spin originating in a weak force the atoms arrange. Electrons ejected from atoms by energy passing through matter propel. Photons transfer all their energy to an electron located in an atomic shell. Common likeness in 4 forces of nature seem to be that of energy. The heat existing only at the speed of light as photonic transfer. We see that energy is measurable, however, and may become equated to mass. Those energies existing only as that can't be slowed down to study, alas. It causes the fragment to vibrate. Light being ray emitted after it is stored. Light moves slower through denser media as particles get in the way, without interference or resistance, carried as forms of radiation, say. Each time the photon bumps into such a shred, it gets absorbed. Proof: mass and energy are transferable because gravity bends radiation. Photoscopic transfer is light having no mass, or photonic heat action. Think of it as that. It can't become described correctly in animation. Light becomes that upon interaction with nuclear weak attraction.
More accurately, gravity bends space-time within which radiation behaves. Energy only. Radioactivities are high-frequency electromagnetic waves, the same as that released in thermonuclear reactions inside a star. It also occurs outside of the event horizons where black holes are.